We don't always get to talk to serious, legit OG whales of the platform. And I bet you probably never thought those are two words you'd hear your name included in the same sentence with on any platform. So how does that feel?
My wife says I look like a beach whale at the beach, but otherwise, it feels good. It's it's a really exciting time. I agree. We didn't expect it to go like the way it did, but it's been fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, how did this start for you?
We got introduced to Diamond Hands, and learned more about the project and decided we wanted to be a part of it. So spent some time thinking about what it could become, the implications of decentralized social media platform, and decided we want to join in. So joined in early on. Started posting from the very beginning when the site went live, and just I don't think any of us knew quite where it was heading or what direction it was going to take, but just have been kind of keeping up every day. It's now my third most used app on the internet, behind Twitter and Gmail. I think it'll overtake Twitter soon, because I think that's like some lagging stat. But yeah, it's been really cool.
Yeah. So in looking at the about page on Social Capital, something that jumps off the page at me is that that you guys invest from a balance sheet of permanent capital to fuel entrepreneurship at all stages all over the world, so we can partner with entrepreneurs as long as it takes. And so, since this is the BitClout podcast and people listening to it probably only care about it for that purpose, what's the vision for Social Capital in being involved with BitClout as long as it takes? Is it just a more casual, well, this is one we're just throwing a little bit of money at?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. There's a couple of ways we invest. I think when things are unknown, extremely risky, and experimental, we take a sort of experimental mindset, and we'll put in a smaller amount of capital to really become students and learn and participate. And I think what you see from us on the site is a lot of time and engagement, which is more valuable than some 1 million, 10 million, 20 million early on in BitClout. It's not going to make or break the platform, but our engagement, learning, and how quickly we're compounding that may make a difference. So what we're doing now is trying to really understand how the platform is being used, who's using it, get to know some of the people involved, some of those early power users, some of the use cases that matter, and more importantly, or equally importantly, a lot of the developers that are building on top. And what are they building, and what kind of teams is it attracting? Is it a certain part of the world where the use case is more meaningful than others? We think about Twitter and the Arab Spring a decade ago, so we could think about which pockets of social media are sort of impacted today, being canceled, being deplatformed, that are going to be have those early use cases where they will flock to this. So those are things we're trying to keep an open mind to, and really get to know who's building, who's excited about it. And then, as you see the platform mature, as you see the code get open source and decentralized, off ramps, as those things kind of happen, then we can invest capital more intelligently and more in a more risk adjusted way. And so that's when we can really start to put more capital to work. We don't have to go back to any limited partners to raise funds. It's all capital on demand as we want to really make some really interesting bets. And that's sort of the evolution of our firm. We went from being a venture capital firm that has traditional 10-year funds with 3-year deployment periods to now sort of having the full power of the holding company on demand to really make interesting bets.
Yeah. But in this case, that obviously had to have been a different sort of mix, and it's kind of more of a partnership in the BitClout portion, as opposed to just we're going to just take the reins and try to incubate this thing. Or am I wrong? Because it seems like you're more of a hands-off on this one, right?
We're not. Yeah, we didn't incubate. We're not behind any of the development team. We're passive investors in the same way that anyone from the community is buying BitClout. Mm-hmm. And so that's how we participate, and we're sort of just students right now and curious, and I think to the extent companies want to build on top of BitClout, we're very interested to fund those companies.